Scenario 1, or Pericles 1, to use its code name, sir.
What is the virtue of a proportional response?
I'm sorry?
What is the virtue of a proportional response? Why is it good? They hit an airplane, so we hit a transmitter, right? That's a proportional response.
Sir, in the case of Pericles 1...
They hit a barracks, we hit 2 transmitters.
That's roughly it, yes, sir.
This is what we do. I mean, this is what we do.
Yes, sir. It's what we do. It's what we've always done.
Well, if it's what we do, if it's what we've always done, don't they know we're going to do it?
Sir, if you turn your attention to Pericles 1.
I have turned my attention to Pericles 1. It's 2 ammo dumps, an abandoned railroad bridge, and a Syrian intelligence agency.
Those are 4 highly rated targets, sir.
But they know we're going to do that. They know we're going to do that. Those areas have been abandoned for 3 days now. We know that from the satellite, right? We have the intelligence.
Sir.
They did that, so we did this. It's the cost of doing business. It's been factored in, right?
Mr. President.
Am I right, or am I missing something here?
No, sir, you're right, sir.
Then I ask again, what is the virtue of a proportional response?
It isn't virtuous, Mr. President. It's all there is, sir.
It is not all there is.
Sir, Admiral Fitzwallace.
Excuse me, Leo. Pardon me, Mr. President. Just what else is there?
The disproportional response. Let the word ring forth from this time and this place, gentlemen. You kill an American, any American, we don't come back with a proportional response. We come back with total disaster.
And that is exactly what has happened. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Donald Trump did, in fact, make a strike on Israel, Iran, for the, funny slip of the tongue there, for the Apache helicopter coming down. U.S. Central Command put this out. U.S. Central Command forces began launching self-defense strikes against Iran at 5 p.m. Eastern Time today at the Commander-in-Chief's direction in response to yesterday's downing of a U.S. Army Apache helicopter. The mission is proportional response to unjustified Iranian aggression. They hit radar sites. They hit a number of things. I think, in fact, we pop this here, but I think, they hit radar sites. I thought this was the article. There it is. The latest U.S. strikes targeted Iranian air defense, ground control stations, and surveillance radar sites. So, yeah, they shut down some of the stuff that they'd spun back up, thinking they were being all slick. Like I've said before, and like I'm sure other people have said, we knew what they were moving around. We had reprioritized targets. We knew there were some moments if we were to get to attack, this is what we're going to hit first. Well, you didn't take down a helicopter. We shot down a helicopter. You shoot down a helicopter. Well, you don't have any more. So then we blew up the stuff that helps you shoot down helicopters. Yeah, here's a big giant middle finger. Stick it up your butt, like Keir Starmer does. Yeah, you know. Iran's military is a complete and total mess. Much of it, like their Navy and Air Force, doesn't even exist anymore. They have been completely defeated. Iran is all talk and no action. The bully of the Middle East is dead. They've taken too long to negotiate a deal that would have been great for them. Now they will have to pay the price. President Trump. Yeah, he's basically taking the gloves off. This was 4:03 a.m., I'm assuming my time, Pacific time, essentially, in the West Coast. Well, sorry, June 10th, 4:32 Pacific time, right? So, 7-something, their time. Trump is taking the gloves off. He also posted this: the fake news media refuses to report how effective the U.S. naval blockade is. The most successful blockade in the history of naval warfare. Nothing gets through unless we want it to. It is a steel wall. Iran is doing zero business, not paying their military or any of their bills, and quickly becoming a failed nation. Lots of oil is getting out. Praise be to Allah. President Donald J. Trump. I'm curious how many of you that pisses off when he uses the word Allah. It's like, what is it? Theos in Greek is God, right? Right? Does it bother those same people if you say Theos? They're like, no, that's cool. It's God in Greek. Well, Allah is God in Arabic. Is all that is. It's just God in Arabic. It's just a word in another language, like Dios in Espanol. Anyway, I always find it interesting. Allah has never bothered me ever once. I think people that are heavily into the religious thing, which, again, I was reading something. listening to something. I don't even remember where it was. Too much crap. But I was just saying, we're all made in God's image and likeness. We're all brothers and sisters. That just blows my mind that we look for reasons to dislike one another. Still can't figure that one out. J.D. Vance reacts after Israel is reportedly caught spying on the Pentagon. There was a video. Here it is. Like sometimes, huh? What were you doing, Dan?
So how concerned are you about Israel spying on the United States and freelancing in Lebanon?
Well, look, I think obviously the Israelis and the United States, we have a lot of shared interests, but we also have some situations where our interests diverge. And I think where the president has been very clear here is that while Israel obviously has some objectives that it has, the United States' main objective in Iran is to ensure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. And we've actually, thanks to what's happened over the last few months, but really over the last year and a half, we've created the space necessary where the president believes, and I think that he's right, that we can get the long-term settlement to Iran's nuclear deal. Now, Israel may like that, they may not like that, but fundamentally, we think this is in the best interest of the United States of America. So we're going to keep on pursuing it because that's what the President of the United States was elected to do. That's what we have to do in order to properly serve the American people.
Do you think the Iranians are trying to play us at the negotiating table?
Well, I think, Jesse, everybody's always trying to play everybody. I think the president's attitude on this is we have to verify, of course. One of the most important things to whether this ultimate settlement is a success is not what the Iranians write on the paper, but whether they actually comply with some of the requirements of the settlement that we come up to. I think it's very important, and this is one of the big differences. You always hear people talk about the Obama deal and what went wrong with it. The number one thing that went wrong with the Obama deal, Jesse, is that there was not a proper inspections regime to ensure that the Iranians could never build a nuclear weapon. And that's one of the big differences between what happened then and what the President of the United States would get to, assuming we're ultimately able to make a deal. So I don't assume that anybody's acting in good faith. Obviously, we've been very involved in these negotiations, Jesse. We're going to take the attitude of accomplish the president's mission, but verify over the long term that the Iranians are keeping their end of the bargain. It's a tall order, but it's one that the president has put us in a good position to achieve, because let's be honest, Jesse, the Iranians don't want this war to continue. It's not in their best interest, and I think they're coming to the table, putting some real things on the table. We're, of course, going to verify it, but if we get to this deal, it's going to be a home run win for the American people.
Right? And we are exactly heading down that path. We are creating a situation for Iran, for the world. Now, again, all the deep state stuff that's tied into Iran. I mean, you've got what, like they did again. Then we're going to get, Trump's got an interesting little rant. He went on for about 6 minutes. Part of it's super fantastic and totally ties into what he's been doing, which is the thumbnail, literally taking their oil. This is something that we've heard snippets of. Certain ships got through the blockade. They've made deals. They've let stuff that come through. I've mentioned this once or twice. The only thing that's come through is what they wanted to come through. And then I've said before, yeah, if something comes in there, they're obviously trying to offload oil because they're trying to buy time for Iran. And then any of those ships that leave, we can easily take them. So there is that going on. And we will have confirmation of that in a second. Okay, yeah, basically right now. Let's do it. Let's do it right now. Let's do it. Let's do this. I pray I actually did. Cool, here's the video.
Then I guess something's going to happen. No, we can't let them extort us. I told the guys today, we can't let them. They've done it on numerous occasions. I said we can't. What we're signing today has been amazing, but they tried to extort us, and eventually, and they were losing tremendous support because they're extorting on law and order, and they can't win on law and order. People want law and order. They don't want crime. And that's essentially what they were doing. And ultimately, they could not take the heat. But we can't let them extort.
Mr. President, it starts tomorrow. And
what starts?
The World Cup.
Yeah.
The soccer World Cup, the football World Cup.
Most successful World Cup they've ever had.
Exactly.
They've never sold tickets at that level. They've never sold that many tickets so quickly. It's amazing because you don't think of soccer. We use the word football, soccer, right? But you don't think of soccer in this country. It's the most successful. I spoke to Johnny this morning. He's fantastic, and he's the boss. he said, there's never been anything close to what's happened.
But because of the success, some people are afraid that.
Good morning and welcome to today's important hearing.
Well, we're working on it very closely to make sure the right people come into our country.
Are you going to go to any games?
I will. I will.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a headwind?
I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, you know, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships, late at night with no lights, because they don't have any radar, because we blasted the crap out of it. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. I mean, you take a look. Remember when I did this, I said, look, the one bad thing will be, we hit the best economy we've ever hit. And I said to my people, I had Scott, I had Howard, I had Pete, I had all of them. I had Todd in the room. I said, the one thing we have to do now, we had just hit the highest stock market in history, highest 401ks in history. Everything was going well. And I said, I hate to do this to you guys, but Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon very soon. We have to go and attack. So we hit them with the B-2 bombers, which took a lot of courage. It was totally successful. We buried it, very hard to get. But now we had to make the second move. And I said, you know, the bad part is the stock market will go down by a lot based on predictions of experts, like 25%. And it was worth it. To me, it was worth it, not to have a nuclear weapon. And the other thing is that oil would go to $250 a barrel. It's at 85, and which is pretty amazing. And here's the key. We just hit today another stock market high. 74, in my short time here, 74 days we hit stock market all-time historical highs. Nobody can believe it. The Dow, the S&P. S&P was at 7,000. They said in 4 years, maybe 5 years. It will never hit it during the term. It was too much. I hit it in my first year. I hit on the Dow, it was 50,000 was an impossible number. They said 5, 6 years out you'd hit. Well, I hit it in my first year. And now I get everyone in the room and say, congratulations, but now I'm going to take it down a little bit because we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And they all agreed with me, Todd, you remember. Everybody agreed. And we took a little journey down to Iran. We first stopped off at Venezuela, by the way. And we have paid for that war many, many times over. And we have great relationships with the people of Venezuela. We get along with them great. It was a great success. It was a one-day war. It was really, to be exact, 48 minutes of fury. And it was over. And Venezuela is doing great. Relationships with the people are great. It's become a happy country, believe it or not. I mean, it's become a happy country. And we're taking out millions of barrels of oil from Venezuela. And then we went to Iran. And essentially we've done the same thing. It doesn't look as pretty, but there's no Navy. 159 ships at the bottom of the sea. There's no Air Force. All of their planes are blown up. Most of their drones are gone. Most of their drone-making ability is gone. Most of their missiles are gone. All of their leadership is gone, so they replaced it. All of that leadership is gone, so they replaced it. And that's the people we're dealing with now. And I think they're going to want to make a deal, but we're going to find out.
Inflation to come down between now and November.
When the war's over?
Yes.
It's coming down.
I know you can't.
It's going to come down like a rock. And again, we're taking out millions, which I'm just announcing today for the first time. But we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil. Millions of barrels. Every night we took out oil. But now I'm going to tell you because they just figured it out. So now that they figured it out, I can tell you. It was very hard for me. I wanted to say it so badly, but I didn't want to ruin it. But it was very hard. But millions of barrels of oil has come out. And that's why it's at $85, $90 a barrel instead of $250. But we have the greatest military in the world, the toughest military in the world, just the best in every way. Nobody even close. There's no military that's even close. I rebuilt it during my first term. I'm using it now. When this conflict is over, Todd said, please call it a conflict, right? As opposed to the word war. He didn't like the word war, but it's sort of a conflict. It's a military operation. When it's over, you will see oil drop to where it was before. We were getting gasoline. Just before it started, I was in Iowa, and we passed gas stations, $1.85 a gallon. And we'll be back at those levels very soon. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, huge how that played out. I mean, again, Trump is changing the way the game is played. There's no question about that. Huh, wait, why is that happening? What the hell? What the hell? Why is my left and right all messed up? That is so strange. Huh. That is very weird. Anyway. That's very bizarre. All of that said, we'll figure it out down the road. I don't know what's going on. Elon Musk, the SpaceX is set to shatter the IPO records, but experts are warning regular investors should be wary. So yeah, there's this possibility. SpaceX, they disclosed a $4.9 billion loss. Right now, they're up to $18.7 billion in losses. A lot of people talking about buying the stock. I've had a lot of people ask me. I actually had a friend ask me if my guy can help get in. His firm wasn't involved in the initial offering, so no. And that might have been good to get into. That would have been questionable, but I had a nice little chit chat with him when I did, and there's some things like this that he brought up. One, the potentiality you might have to hold on to the stock for a period of time. There might be an agreement there. Two, they are heavily debt-ridden right now, and they're only going deeper in debt. So that's a lot of recoup that has to happen to get that stock money back, or that stock price back. So we'll see. Again, I still think it's kind of interesting how much money's being spent on old technology. I assume, because my understanding, we've engineered some pretty amazing stuff, whether it was reverse engineered from other stuff, which I think we're going to find, and I'm so looking forward to seeing the Disclosure Day movie. Anybody that think that's fucked up, so sorry, but I'm excited as fuck. Like Spielberg, he's done plenty of things, but he certainly did E.T. and he did Close Encounters. Both those movies, I think, moved the needle in the proper direction. I have heard some of the crazy stories around the finger and everything else. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. I don't necessarily believe those stories. I don't necessarily not believe. It's just, they're not all bad. Let's just put it that way. Everybody's like, they're all demons. Nah, that's bullshit. No broad brush painting bullshit. They're not all good. They're not all bad. There's a mixture of everything in between. And, frankly, some of them already live here, which might surprise many. Donald Trump says he's looking at a bill that would eliminate capital gains tax on home sales. Holy crap.
What do you think about this new bill that's going to basically eliminate no capital gains tax on home sales to be able to free up the money? People who've owned a house for a long time can't afford to pay the capital gains.
Yeah, well, we're looking at that, and it could be a very big positive. I don't think for you, because you make so much money, it doesn't matter. But I think it's going to be a great incentive for a lot of people that really need money.
So between that and Jerome Powell stepping down, that could really boost home sales.
Well, I think if Jerome Powell stepped down, it would be a great thing. I don't know that he's going to, but he should.
This is older, but still, nonetheless. Yeah, Jerome. Well, I don't know. He's still on the board, so it might be legit. Inflation slowed a little, maybe they're saying, but it's at 4.2%, by the way. So everybody like Trump's like, I have zero inflation right now. No, this stuff that's going on with Iran is definitely affecting things. They want to blame him. They are blaming him. They're going to blame him. What's going to happen, my guess is, because all the numbers of the market are just arbitrary, they're made up, they're phony baloney. They really are, right? They do what they want to do. They control a lot of the movements of money, and they kind of do it in a way that sort of tries to show what they want to show, whatever that might be, whether it's them making extra money at the moment or blaming somebody or whatever. All the above, right? They'll put out a press release that says the stock market's down today because of Trump. And it's like, how? Just because we said so, right? Like, who cares? So, like I talked about, I think yesterday, consumer price index was up, like it was expected to be, 4.2%, which means they're saying that inflation's 4.2%. Most of that, a lot of that inflation is the price of oil, period. End of story. That said, which means the second he gets that price of oil number fixed, like he said, we've been taking oil, so that's actually kept it lower, and that's legit. He's kept the price of oil from hitting ridiculous numbers, which is what they wanted to do to cripple us, but we knew that. Everyone's like, did you know they were going to close the Strait of Hormuz? He's like, did you know they were trying to get gas or oil prices to go to $250 a barrel, you stupid fuck? You don't get anything. You get the Strait of Hormuz. People are retarded, for the most part. Not all of our, not our audience, but yeah. So 4.2% CPI, meh, that's what it is. Oil, up a little. It's sitting at 90. This is our oil. I don't know what the Brent crude or whatever the one is in Britain. And then Asia's got their own oil price too. I don't know what either of those are. I didn't look them up. Don't really care, frankly. Gold down still. It's interesting. It's almost down to 4,000. That's fantabulous. This is the time to buy. This is as low as ever going to get. The second all this stuff happens, inflation again is high. They're not even letting that number show. This is going to be, Trump is literally preparing the demise of the Fed. This number, 4,000. Man, if it dips down, I mean, it's okay. Maybe 3,500. I don't think they can go much further. It's really up to Trump. And I think he's doing it on purpose. Because the snap back is going to be enormous. And nobody will be able to explain it away. Banks won't be able to handle it. Shorts won't be able to handle it. Nothing will be able to handle it. It will destroy a lot of things. Get out of their system, guys. This is the time to do it. This is one of the last times I think anybody's going to get, not trying to fear you out. Nah, just fucking stay in it then. I don't care. It's not my, do your best. But if you've got a 401k or an IRA, my friends at Goldco can help you do it the fastest. They're the best. I'll tell you what, they got the best customer service. They've got multiple suppliers. They can actually make this hustle happen. It's all up to you and how quickly. It can happen literally within a week. DRSlikesgold.com. Read your contract, though. Don't do anything silly. If you're trying to get your hands on the gold physically, it's probably not a good idea. You're going to pay a lot of penalties and taxes. If that's what you're thinking in your mind, if you can let it ride for a year or two, which is really what you're trying to do, you're trying to protect your wealth, and it's doing that. It's physical metals. They are yours. You could have them sent to you for the most part, except you will get hosed. I don't recommend that. I'm not a financial planner, so don't trust me. But these guys can help you make that 401k IRA, that move happen, tax-free, penalty-free. They can also get you up to 10% free silver. So if you're moving $100,000, you're going to get $10,000 of free gold or silver. You get both, up either or, right? I think you might even be able to mix them. Go to DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that silly system, right? And when you put in the 4 data points, and if you do have a legitimate plan, right? Legitimate plan. Hit the claim offer. A little phone number is going to pop up. It's going to give you 20 minutes. If you literally can call them in 20 minutes and you have a legitimate offer, ask them, hey, Dan said something about 5 grams of silver for free. Is that true? My gosh, watch what happens. Go to DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that silly darn system before that silly darn system gets out of you. I want to pull this up. Did I lose the other story? I feel like I did. I might have. Let me see if I can find it. I might have lost it. We had a... Yeah, no, okay, this is right. I just got it backwards here. Let me do it this way. Sorry, guys. The new documents released by Senate Committee on Homeland Security, Governmental Affairs. This monkeypox sample they snuck in. I don't know if you guys remember this. They were talking to it. No, this is one of the things, the only one of the things that Rand Paul was awesome. This is when it came to Fauci and a lot of this crazy crap. Love the dude. I love the dude. He's the only one really fighting the fight for us. So appreciate that, even though you're a dick most of the time, it seems. This individual that was trying to sneak the monkeypox into this country so he could study it. He worked at one of those level 4 labs, and BSL, I think they call it level 4, right? But they worked at one of those labs. And they fly in. Where did he fly in? He flew into Detroit. Now, is that the story? I don't know. I feel like it might be. Yeah, they found the tubes. They found all the stuff. He had stuff he shouldn't have with him. He got busted. That's awesome. But the Detroit thing jumped out at me. I was like, Detroit, wasn't that where the first person that was supposed to come through with the Ebola? There was somebody that was coming in from the Republic of Congo, and they were flying in Air France from Paris to Detroit. They got rerouted to Montreal. I pulled it up. I was like, am I thinking that in my mind? I said, plane diverted to Montreal. Because I was like, am I right on that? Because I'm pretty sure it was Montreal. And it said, yes, an Air France flight from Paris to Detroit was diverted to Montreal due to a passenger from the Democratic Republic of Congo who was not allowed to enter the U.S. because of Ebola-related stuff. Detroit. Why? Think about it. Obviously, that's an airport that's going to allow for it. Guys, be on the lookout. Detroit is definitely one of the places they're trying to sneak some stuff in. It's two different places where we caught them both times. They keep trying to come in through Detroit. We seem to be aware of it, by the way. William Poulter, this is Trump posting this. William Poulter, who is working closely with Tulsi Gabbard, will be taking over as acting director of National Intelligence on Friday, June 19th. He will remain as director of Federal Housing Finance Agency and chairman of Fannie Mae Freddie Mac. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Suck it, Donald Trump. He didn't put the suck it part. I added that. Trump secures ICE funding until the end of his term as House approves a $70 billion immigration bill. So it made it through both houses is what it sounds like for the most part. Trump's going to be signing that one into law, obviously. So the funding for ICE, Border Patrol, and all that good stuff is done till the end of his term. No matter what happens, Congress can't be dickholes to him again. That is a huge success. Key senator is pressing for term limits of the parliamentarian. They've been there for a very long time, since Obama, apparently. Nobody wants to fire her for whatever reason. She's a hardcore Democrat. Many, many times she's screwed us. Few times she screwed the Democrats, but only because what they did was so heavily anti-constitutional that she kind of had to. So she sucks. Trump posted this as well. Congratulations to Senator Lindsey Graham of the great state of South Carolina on his big win tonight. With almost 60% of the vote against the large field of very capable candidates, there will be no runoff. Now Lindsey will be able to devote his time to passing the desperately needed and long overdue Save America Act. I'm wondering if he's trying to get Lindsey to take over the House or take over the Senate as the Speaker, maybe. I don't know if he's the right guy. Find out. But I do think it's very interesting that General Flynn's thing didn't work, which is interesting why he did that. I do not understand that. I still am very confused. I'm not trying to be a dick towards him per se. I just don't understand why he does some of the weird stuff he does, knowing full well what he's doing. I know he knows what he's doing. I don't think they have ranked choice. I didn't see anything suggesting that, so that certainly doesn't seem to be that was my one where I was trying to give benefit of doubt. That seems to have failed. Not many times I can give benefit of doubt before eventually you're like, why are you doing that? Elon Musk posted this in regards to California. California has made it illegal for any election in the state to require ID. This is nuts. It is. And this has to do with my county. Orange County, thank you very much. They pushed it to require voter ID at the polls. California's tried to make it illegal. I believe it was Huntington Beach that was actually doing this actual law. It's a little old story, but still nonetheless. Nancy Mace concedes she has lost in the primaries. And again, that might be a surprise to many people. I've called this before. I've had some people get a little frustrated with me. I can tell. The ones that are like Marjorie Taylor Brown, the ones that go down that path, the ones that make a lot of noise, that try to force things, and they'll pull their vote back if they don't get what they want, they're the ones that are going to get shafted. These people are renegades, and they're causing problems. We need unity And we need people to kind of get on board and understand the big picture. You get a say, but there's a whole bunch of other people. You don't get to hold up the whole entire meal because you're pissed off you didn't get what you wanted. We'll see how many people figure it out. There's some people that are surprised. I think Chip Roy, well, he was going, I think, for Senate and failed or something like that. He also didn't get Trump's support. Mace didn't get Trump's support. Everybody that Trump gave support to won. Nancy Mace wasn't on that list of people that Trump supported. Keep that in mind. This was actually funny because at the very end of this, and what he says at first is kind of cool, but then he kind of gets braggadocious, Bill Maher. And what I love about it, and it's the only reason I'm playing it, is all the people he lists off. I want to say all of them. Maybe one of them hasn't yet. But I think all of them have all been removed, have all been voted out. He's saying everybody loves him now. And the reality is, no, they've all been removed.
I get it. But the Charlie Kirk interview with you...
Minus a couple. I think Luna's one of the people that hasn't yet, but she's heading down the wrong path.
And was really interesting.
Me with him here?
Yes.
I loved it.
Because...
And by the way, they're doing a documentary, and they asked if I would be in it. They said the other people they said are in it already, all, hard right-wingers. I said yes. I'm giving them...
Hang on a second. Let me make sure I didn't screw this up. I bet I did. Hang on. Try that again.
I get it, but the Charlie Kirk interview with you and him was really interesting.
Me with him here?
Yes.
I loved it.
Because...
And by the way, they're doing a documentary, and they asked if I would be in it. They said the other people they said are in it already, all, hard right-wingers. I said yes. I'm giving them 5 minutes after my taping Friday night because... And I told them, don't expect me to be just saying... hagiography about Charlie. I liked him as a person. I'm glad I talked to him. I do not think he was a monster. And if you look at...
Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Yep, go ahead.
Heart attack? Oh.
Yeah, sorry. I
You gotta
turn
go.
this thing on. Okay.
If you look at his statements, I've read the full statements, of course, because everybody is only interested in getting points for their team. They mischaracterize them. But even when I read the full statement, which were accurately characterized, I still disagreed with them.
Right.
But it wasn't what they presented. Again, it's always in the middle. It wasn't as bad as they said.
Right.
But I still disagree.
Sure. But that's what I loved about the interview is that you sat there and considered things and listened to him, let him talk, and it was a really great discussion.
My little motto here is everybody's a monster till you talk to them.
Right.
Marjorie Taylor Greene came on Real Time. Suddenly everybody loves Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Right.
Lauren Boebert, these people who come on Real Time, and it's like Anna Paulina Luna. Love her.
Right.
Yeah, he just gave the death knell, right? I don't know. That's kind of how it felt to me anyways. Jeff Dunham, for those of you who don't know, that's got Ahmed the Dead Terrorist, and he does those the pretty cool stuff. Good stuff. I like that stuff. This was, what was this? Trump, I think it was. Dune. Okay, so the way the headline's done, again, it's Gateway Pundit. No offense, Gateway. You guys bring up great news. You guys spin it in a shit way, but that's, you guys are awesome. Everybody clickbaits all over your shit. Dune says Save America Act is dead. Dead. Now that statement sounds like Dune's being a dick. I don't think he is. I think Thune, without trying to call out his compatriots, his comrades, I should say, because half of them are communist, without calling them out, he's acknowledging the problem. Our own party can't pull this off. We certainly don't have any Democrats that are going to vote for it, and I think they need 60 people. So, it's not possible. He's like, we can go and vote for this all day long. And this is where people are bitching that it's taking up floor time. Whatever. Maybe. Probably. Because it does waste probably a stupid ton of time. Now, these four people are fuckfaces. And they have that... Well, I don't know. Like, that's not, like, if you were having sex with this and that's the look she had on her face while it was happening, I think it would scare me, personally. I'd probably have nightmares about that for the rest of my life. I'd be like, oh my God, you're just looking at me like you're a doll. There's no life in your eyes at all. And he's just, like, asleep. She's lost in her own eye bags? I don't know. And Tom Tillis, he's just I don't like him at all. Needless to say, got sidetracked. It's your fault, not mine. Anyways, here is John Thune. I think saying the truth. Again, we want to blame him. I'm on the fence with John. We'll see.
Fire the parliamentarian and pass the SAVE Act. You've been very clear as to why the SAVE Act doesn't have the votes to pass and why firing the parliamentarian would create problems here. But are you worried that if you don't do what the president wants, that he's going to criticize your leadership or perhaps withdraw support for your leadership?
That could happen. Look, and it's a well-known fact around here. Sometimes perhaps not fully grasped around the country, but anybody who follows this process closely knows that we don't have the votes. And the only way that you could figure out a way to get the votes, and even in that case, the Save America Act didn't even get 50 votes last week on the floor of the Senate. But even if you confine it to just the two issues of photo ID and citizenship in order to register to vote, on those two issues, it takes 60 votes in the Senate. The only way you could get there is to undo or get rid of the legislative filibuster, and there aren't even close to the votes here in the United States Senate in order to achieve that. So it's an issue we all agree on. We're all for it, and we've all voted that way. But it's not something that we're going to be able to get done absent having an election and electing some more Republicans.
What people don't truly appreciate or recognize is the only way things get passed in a lot of cases is certain senators add their riders or amendments or whatevers. They put their little thing in there that gets them taken care of, gets their people taken care of, makes sure their name's on the bill, whatever the total thing is, probably puts money in their pockets, my guess, really. Ultimately, it gets money in their pocket. And John's saying that's the only way that we can pass this stupid thing, is to make a bunch of deals with a bunch of people. But the problem is you're going to then have a bunch of bullshit in the bill, and nobody's going to vote for it, especially in the House. There's no way it's going to get through the House. Especially we got a bunch of deals that we've made with a bunch of senators, getting a bunch of money in their pockets, and nothing for the House. You see, there's this weird thing from that standpoint, too, this dichotomy that exists between the upper and lower chambers, as they call it. The Senate thinks of themselves as the upper, and that's, again, was never supposed to be the case. My understanding is the House was always supposed to bring in the Senate. The Senate was never supposed to be voted in. They were always supposed to be brought in by the actual House. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know the original constitutional whatever, So Tom tells us he's throwing a tantrum. I'm going to dig into this more tomorrow on the Thursday show. My Thursday Hot Topics. But he's whining about the constant push for Save America Act, defend Susan Collins, attacks Tommy Tuberville. This guy's going after everybody in an email that's been leaked. We're going to read through this whole thing tomorrow. But it really does get into the favors that need to be done, the way things are supposed to be done. Guys, there's old school stuff in place everywhere. We need Congress to fix Congress. We can't force that. The executive branch is not allowed to force Congress to fix itself. We need Congress to fix Congress. Right now, they suck. We need the Supreme Court to fix the courts. We've got a lot of courts that are out of control right now, and John Roberts we're wondering about. Certainly a lot of potential stories out there, Mr. Sir, about you and possible things that might not have been appropriate or legal. Don't know. I've heard. There's just stories, right? Want everybody to get their day in court. So how many years does this lady spend in prison? Is this worth playing? It's 44 seconds. Let's see. We'll find out.
She was recently arrested for election fraud in Texas because of overwhelming video evidence incriminating herself that she was harvesting ballots for pay.
Look at the top of ticket to get votes for either Biden. How many votes do you think you can deliver for us?
At least 5,000.
And what are we looking at as far as how much that's going to cost?
For the entire team that I'm looking at 55,000.
So $55,000 for 5,000 votes, top the ticket, eager Biden.
If not more. I'm not going to overpromise because remember, we're 16 days till election day. You give me cash, you can do whatever you want to do.
$55,000 up front, 5,000 votes.
That's right.
Then there is...
Yeah. So we have all sorts of examples of cheating coming out now. Spencer Pratt posted this. Just a duck floating on a pond. Now, this is a funny analogy in a lot of ways. First off, my favorite, arguably one of my all-time favorite movies. I don't know, it's my top 3, I would say, probably. Has to be. Replacements. I love the movie. It's a football movie. Keanu Reeves, incredible movie. Just love the movie. I don't know. This is probably because I played sports. I had dreams after that. They'd like, Dan, come in. Like I was after, anyway, stupid. Right? Stupid. It is what it is. So they always said, I'm another duck on the pond. And a duck on the pond, their little feet are going a mile a minute while everything on the surface looks calm. There's that. Ducks just let the water roll off their backs, right? That's another thing. But without a doubt, he looks pretty chill. I don't know, he's moving, so I guess his feet are moving. But I think Spencer's basically saying, man, it's just just rolling off my back. Don't sweat it, right? Or, and I think this is still the case, he came in on purpose. They brought him in on purpose for a reason, and he did exactly what he was supposed to do. Spencer Pratt nailed it. So cheers, Spencer. That's my understanding is you were approached, my friend, and you are magnificent, sir. He's a gift. He's got it. Trump knows that. And I think Trump even probably went from the reality TV show crap he was doing. Trump understood that too. He did the filming. He understood how hard it was to get people to say stuff that was worth putting on camera. And that's what it comes down to. It's one of the things that's frustrating about, if you get shows with other people, right? I'll never forget. I'm not trying to besmirch anyone. I'm not going to say the gentleman's name. But we'd get on to our live show and they'd start talking about how one of his cats died immediately. It's like, we're going to start the show off with dead cats? Are you shitting me? Like, I just lose my crap and my head's exploding. Trump gets it. I get it. I mean, it's what it's about. You have to sell this to people. In order to sell it to people, you need a good salesman. You can't just be, you know what, died the other day and I'm all sad. Oh, fuck, Jesus, Lord. What were you going to do your show on? Can we get to that? So again, says the guy that uses more words than he needs to. Graham Plattner, he won. He won the Democratic thing. He hasn't kicked Susan Collins out yet. But that's literally, so what's funny is I think Susan Collins played a part in this. I think Susan Collins is so strong in Maine that she was literally able to control who won the Democrat candidate, so she has a chance to win again in this coming election. She's literally running against a Nazi. Now, all points aside, and I don't think anyone's votes are actually fair, especially in Maine. Somehow we're to assume, though, California completely cheating, other elections completely cheating. We saw the mayor of Seattle completely cheating. Like, this is a trend. So somehow the Democratic Party put up a known Nazi. Now, I'm going to say what he did 20 years ago is what he did 20 years ago. And all the people that are like, well, if he's got a Nazi tattoo, obviously he's a Nazi. And it's like, well, I don't know. I know a lot of people that did stupid stuff back when they 20 years ago. And I know I was a lot more radical anarchist 20 years ago, right? Or, well, actually at this point, 30 plus years ago. Getting older, it seems. That said, whatever. I care what people are doing right now is what matters now. He's running as a progressive. So he's established. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to stick up for the guy, though he does have an incredible voice. Incredible voice. Fucking pisses me off how nice his voice is. Dude's a Nazi, I think. That's what I'm pretty much saying. Yeah. Just saying. 4 California school districts under DOJ review, most of them up in Northern California. Again, Southern California far more conservative than Northern California. Everybody's like, break into separate states. Fuck you. No, let's just keep the state together and let's just get shit figured out with our elections, because I guarantee you Northern California is not nearly as stupid as they appear to be. All said, we're getting there. This is fantastic. 50 years ago today, the Southern Poverty Law Center was fighting against hate. This is kind of powerful, and I want to play this out because I think it's worth it. This guy, he's at one of the groups that's been attacked by them. So this guy's, his statements, he talks about how they've worked, how the Southern Poverty Law Center's done what they've done. Mr. Bangert does a brilliant job pointing things out to us. Check it out.
Over 50 years ago, the SPLC was founded to fight the scourge of racism, but the SPLC has drifted from that founding purpose. The indictment alleges that the SPLC deceived donors into funding the racist groups it claimed to fight. But beyond these shocking allegations of hypocrisy lies a broader story, how the SPLC tarred mainstream conservative organizations as hate groups, and then relentlessly sought to silence those groups by persuading America's leading financial and technology firms to exclude them from the marketplace. ADF is one of those organizations. We've been on the SPLC's hate map since 2016, which is odd, given that we reject racism. Our Christian faith teaches that all are created equal, and all are made in the image of God. But it makes sense when you understand today's SPLC, in the words of some, as a political hit operation. The SPLC has branded ADF and others like us as hate groups solely because it disagrees with our work, grounded in our religious conviction on behalf of children told by the medical establishment to disfigure and permanently mutilate their bodies, on behalf of the most vulnerable among us, both those unborn and those at the end of life. Our advocacy for these mainstream positions has repeatedly led us to the U.S. Supreme Court, where we have secured 18 victories since 2011, including 2 more cases under submission today. In fact, the SPLC even quietly filed an amicus brief supporting one of ADF's Supreme Court wins on behalf of freedom of association and donor privacy. But the SPLC cannot abide our work on behalf of the vulnerable, parents, children, and the unborn. So it has slandered ADF and other groups like us as hate groups, and sought to lock us out of the public square. The SPLC began targeting mainstream Christian and conservative organizations by adding them to their hate map in 2010. 7 years later, the SPLC's fundraising skyrocketed in response to the notorious Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. But this wasn't a stroke of good luck. The superseding indictment alleges that the SPLC funded and supported one of its ringleaders. In the immediate aftermath of Charlottesville, the SPLC received large donations or commitments from leading firms and personalities, including J.P. Morgan Chase, Facebook, Google, Twitter, and even Tim Cook at Apple. In 2018, it launched a coalition of left-wing organizations called Change the Terms. They understood that you don't have to win a debate with your opponents if they're invisible. So the coalition targeted critical banking, payment processing, donor advisory, technology, and digital communications infrastructure. It embedded the SPLC within that infrastructure of corporate decision-making, allowing it to influence terms of engagement, flag business partners, and bully corporations into compliance. In short, the SPLC mobilized corporate America to crush the voices of mainstream conservative organizations. The Biden years saw the SPLC deepen its presence in America's political and corporate infrastructure. The Biden DOJ and White House met regularly with SPLC officials. Amazon used the SPLC to blackball groups from its Amazon Smile giving program. So did the employee charitable giving platform Benevity, which serves nearly a quarter of the Fortune 1000. ADF saw tangible impacts. We lost access to the Amazon Smile program, nonprofit pricing from large technology providers like Microsoft, Adobe, and Intuit, web hosting on the Pantheon platform, and access to donor-advised funds at Fidelity. A partisan political organization like the SPLC should never have been allowed to function as an unaccountable private gatekeeper to critical financial, technology, and communication services. and corporations should never have accepted the word of an organization that is itself severely compromised. In addition to standing indicted today, the SPLC has paid millions in settlements for defamation. Its co-founder and president left in 2019 amid staff reports of a systemic culture of racism and sexism. It received an F from Charity Navigator for hoarding donor money to the tune of more than $800 million, much of it offshore. Former employees have said that the SPLC is little more than a highly profitable scam. The time has come to uproot the SPLC from America's financial and technology infrastructure, and Congress can help. Investigations of the SPLC can reach beyond the indictment to examine the SPLC's relationships with financial institutions, technology companies, and digital communications platforms. Moreover, Congress can pass legislation barring federally insured financial institutions from delegating decision-making to private entities that discriminate based on First Amendment protected activity. These would be critical steps toward dismantling the SPLC's shadow censorship regime. We thank the committee for its interest in doing so.
Yeah, it's powerful how this is coming to the surface. How much we've been lied to, how much this stuff has infiltrated us. It's pretty effed up how bad it is, right? So here we are. This, I just have to play this last little part. The Dr. King, the granddaughter, is phenomenal. And her answer here, because our pirate Raskin can't handle himself. He just can't. He's like, he can't be a dick to this chick. He wants to so badly because she's conservative. She is the enemy. Unquestionably, but he's got to act like he's cool because it's a woman and she's black, and he just can't because they got those check boxes. They got problems with that.
And they won $25 million.
So do you pay the same people to do the bomb and then go and comfort the people from being bombed? You pay the same people to do both jobs? That's kind of fraud to me. That's weird and chaotic and confusing.
Well, Dr. King, I don't think there's any allegation that anybody who was working with the Southern Poverty Law Center bombed anyone. Do you have information to that effect? Because
I don't personally, but outside agitators did bomb our house in '63 and then ran back and took off the Ku Klux Klan sheets and put on police things and ran up in the yard.
Well,
that's the same people. It was crazy.
I'm with you, and that's a statement about the racism of that police force working with the Ku Klux Klan.
Hey, y'all pay both of them to do the double jobs. SPLC does. Really, you hire them to do the bombing, then you hire them to fix the bombing. That's weird.
Dr. King, you're asserting a lot of things under oath, and you haven't brought the evidence with you. So I think
I'll get some for you.
Okay, please, bring us the evidence, and I'll yield back to you, Mr. Chairman.
I'll get some for you.
And they want.
You can assert things. You're not testifying as if you know for sure. If somebody says, "Do you know for sure? Where were you last night?" With the flashlight in your eyes. I wish I should have one here just so I can do that. A fact. That's yeah. If you say, well, this is definitely what happened under testimony. Yeah, of course. Wesley Hunt. He's a chocolate-colored individual talking to another chocolate-colored individual. By the way, I mean, I hate to say it, Jasmine Crockett's a very attractive, physically lady. She was not brought up in the ghetto. She was brought up in places like where I grew up. So she's all sorts of, kind of yummy, chocolatey goodness, they would say. But her insides are so horrible. What is going on? Well, I love the fact that another gentleman who's allowed to say things without getting in trouble says, "What's up, man?" And this is fantastic because black people have been president of the United States. So it's not like you're being held down or anything.
If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Does that sound like a hater or not?
That sounds like a racial stereotype.
Okay, sounds good to me.
I had a previous colleague that talked about seeing a black pilot and what that would mean to Charlie Kirk's comments. And it's funny, black pilot here, by the way. I actually went to flight school, West Point graduate, learned how to fly the Apache helicopter, went to flight school in 2005. You see, there was no DEI. We just simply competed with everyone else, and I was selected, fought in combat, went on to fly 55 combat air missions, and nobody gave a damn what I looked like because I got there on merit. What DEI does is it lowers standards based on race and based on gender.
If I see a black pilot.
Yeah, and that is not acceptable, right? No, I don't think so. We've got Bill Gates. He's going to face U.S. talks with Congress. Kind of sort of happened already. We're already hearing some info come out. Not sure if that's for sure. We'll get some verification down the road. Bill Gates told Congress supposedly that Jeffrey Epstein tried to pressure him using knowledge of his extramarital affairs after their relationship ended. Yeah. Skeletons are a funny thing. It's either A, you got to be able to just fall on that sword if it has to happen, or B, like, I don't know, don't have skeletons. It's kind of it's a tricky path. Or don't have people that can get pissed about skeletons. Sometimes there's like, who are you going to tell? And they're like, your mom? Be like, all right. I mean, first off, my mom's actually dead, so good luck. If you get a hold of her, let me know. That'd be great. Tell her I love her. It's fantastic. Feel great, guys. I love this product. We have it's helping a lot of people. It's incredible. And we want to see more people get help through this process. You want to go to otfspecial.com. otfspecial.com. We're talking about insulin resistance. A lot of the foods that we have, they are really high in the way they're processed. The hyper-processed, the crazy, like the longer the ingredients get, right? Like pretty soon it's just like one ingredient's going to span like 4 lines on the package. You're going to be like, what the shit? It's like, this actually does have 4 things in it, but they're all a paragraph long. It says, see other container for the rest of the ingredients. You have to grab the bag next to it and be like, shit, there's different ingredients. And oh, no, it's just the rest of it. It says continued. They can't even fit it on one label. That's how bad things have gotten. Well, it's causing a problem in our system. Any place where it says there's 0 calories, that's impossible. If you're eating something, your body has to deal with it. Nothing is 0 calories. Calories are counted by whether they fall into 4 food groups. Carbohydrates, fats, proteins, alcohols. They fall into those 4 categories. They have calories, and they can measure them, and they measure them by those 4 categories. If it's somehow a 5th category, well, it doesn't have any calories. That doesn't mean anything. It's fucking you up. It's causing problems. Here's a dude that was totally jacked up. I love John's story the most. You guys know that. Claudia's awesome. But John, he cries at the end, man. I love this dude. Check this out. This is his story.
In my early 30s, I got diagnosed type 2 diabetic. I didn't think that I was. I worked 80 hours a week. I just thought I was always going to be tired. I wasn't feeling right. Went into the hospital, actually because Carrie made me go to the hospital. They asked me, Mr. Cox, how long you been diabetic? And I said, I'm not. And they said, well, with a blood sugar of 598 and an A1C, I don't think it would register, but they said it was a 16. They said, how did you walk in here? I spent a week at the hospital. They put me on 4 insulin shots per day. I asked, is there anything I can do not to take these? And they said, nope, you're going to be on them forever, which was the biggest lie they could have told me. Long story short, with the insulin, I gained 80 pounds over 10 years. I had fatty liver. I was on 2 blood pressure meds, 1 cholesterol med, eventually developed diabetic retinopathy. I was faced with getting shots right before I started this protocol. But for about 3 years, I battled neuropathy terrible. I mean, it dictated my every thought. My monthly insulin cost was $1,300 a month until my deductible was made, not including the rest of the pills. In the course of that time, I took over 20,000 insulin shots in my life. Becky calls. I finally look at it. Trent and Greg Six and Becky actually show me. And I thought, I have nothing to lose. I was on a path of an early death in 4 months. And I didn't lose any weight for the first month. I didn't realize that because my insulin was so high, I wasn't going to lose weight. But then I lost 35 pounds. And in 4 months, I got off 4 insulin shots per day, 2 blood pressure meds, 1 cholesterol. I got off all my neuropathy meds. When right before we went to Bangkok, I went and had my eyes checked. The doctor was so weirded out about it because she was looking at 18 months ago and she was scanning my eyes. She's like, what are you doing? She goes, your prescription in both eyes improved. You were faced with going blind, and I've never seen you had been diabetic for a day, let alone 20 years. So now I'm down 57 pounds.
I love that last part. That's my favorite part. He's down 57 pounds, and you could hear it in his voice, man. This just changed his life. OTFspecial.com. OTFspecial.com. It is a product that's fantastic. It's a powder. 3 times a day, sorry. You drink it. The Unimate is the normal one. You do that twice a day. It helps you kind of stay in ketosis if that's what you wish. It helps with snacking, so you're not doing as much of that. For me, it also kind of helps burn off some extra liquids if I'm heavy. If it's a normal day, it doesn't seem to do anything. It's in that regard. Energy, you feel better. Again, I'm not feeling hungry, so a lot of times it'll prolong my desire to eat. maybe I'm feeling hungrier than I want to earlier, and the Unimate helps, but I do it in the morning before I work out. It totally helps. Then I do another one, usually kind of sort of after I work out, kind of helps just kind of get me through the rest of filming, if you will. And then once that's done, it's time to think about dinner. And that process is oftentimes sufficient just in the experience for me. Balance is what you drink right before you eat dinner. And it just kind of helps fill your stomach with a great fibrous mixture. And then there's science inside of that. And your food kind of dumps into it. And just the way your food gets digested is a little bit altered in a good way. You're going to notice numbers change. A1C numbers, your needs for statins and stuff. Just doctors will tell you. You'll go and get your blood tested and your numbers will have improved. You'll start to realize, oh my gosh, I don't need some of these crazy things that I've been taking. Start saving some money, start saving some probably health, and who knows, kidney and everything else. Go to otfspecial.com, otfspecial.com, otfspecial.com. Feel great. Make sure you do, because it will do exactly that. It'll help you feel better, that's for sure. All right, Amazon Freight, they're expanding, they're selling, so you can sell stuff by the pallet now on Amazon Freight, meaning you can get essentially the equivalent of FedEx Ground. So this costs the stocks of all sorts of different shipping, FedEx, Freight, Old Dominion, Sank, and Arc Best. They all dropped a bunch because Amazon's doing this. Now, I think Bezos, this is one of the things he's done very, very well, is he's created an ability to remove the brick and mortar, which needs to happen. There's a lot of people that are mom, pop. No, that's old school. We don't need that for the most part. I know a lot of people like to tactile and touch. I get that. There might be places where people can go and do that. But for the most part, it's unnecessary. And it's really all about just being able to ship stuff and get it to your front door. And they've got a system built in place, whether it's putting mom and pa out of a job. I don't believe that at all. Brick and mortars, people don't have time to drive around anymore. And mom and pa, and for the most part, get better online and ship it, but then you don't need a storefront, do you? No. You can ship awesome products from your garage. Right off part of your house. Start writing off a lot more stuff. It actually gives you a weird level of freedom that it creates a tax problem for the government, but right, we've had to learn how to deal. What are you going to do? Bombshell, new surveillance video points blame for deadly Eaton fire that killed 19-year-old. It was arcing ground. I just wanted to talk about how horrible it is that literally Southern California Edison, our power company, they're going to get sued for the fire. And when they get sued for the fire, that means they have to pay for the fire. When they have to pay for the fire, that means everybody that's a part of the Edison family here in California, they get to pay extra utility bills. So it's just a way to rape everybody for failures by the state government. You see how the game's played? This is what they do everywhere, guys. It's just unfortunately here in California, we're extra lucky. Jim Jordan pointing out someone. He had a little chit chat with the Act Blue CEO, asking some very specific questions from the Act Blue CEO. Yet the Act Blue CEO didn't seem to want to answer him in any sort of helpful kind of way, says Ms. Wallace Jones, Act Blue CEO.
Chairman said Act Blue accepted up to 38 million contributions in 2024 that had the signs of foreign origin. How much fraud is too much fraud?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
How many foreign contributions did Act Blue accept?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
How much money did Act Blue accept from Russia?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Why did your entire legal team quit? Your in-house legal team?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
To not even be able to answer that last question, if you think about it, like implies that she's had complaints lodged against her and staff members have quit because of that, or quit because of investigations that are forthcoming. But, I can't say any more. I respectfully have to take the fifth, right? Like, Really. And she says it smugly, like, sweetheart, that's not, I get you're not incriminating yourself. Fantastic. But that's not like a off. Like, you didn't just get a out, like a pass. Like, they handed you a trump card and you're like, I get out of jail, bitches. It's like, no. Oh, no. Public opinion, you just failed. Unfortunately, you couldn't even lie your way through that. That's how bad you're involved in this. Like, you're screwed.
Too much fraud is too much.
You can't even lie your way through it. Not a good thing. Not a good thing at all, I'm telling you. Judge rules Irina Zarutskas, the lady got stabbed in the bus. Irina Zarutskas, the killer. He can't be tried because he's too nuts. He's nuts. He's nutsies, all right? So a lot of people freaking out about that. Hey, I have 2 points to make on this. Whatever, hate me for it, don't. I don't know. Just my thoughts on it. One, if the dude's crazy, well, I mean, he's not supposed to have to do that. We have a constitution, we have things where it's supposed to protect people that are crazy that can't protect themselves. Now, do we put them back on the street, South Carolina? Because he's obviously not safe. So what are you going to do? Now he's got to be institutionalized. It has to be. If you just put him back on the street, knowing full well he's nuts and has killed people, and you're like, yeah, so we're not going to try him. We're just going to put him back out on the street, and then when he comes back, we won't try him. We'll put him back on the... Like, he's just helping kill regular old cool people. Yeah. I mean, if he's going to kill more, one would assume maybe it's not safe to let him roam, right? I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm not the smartest. I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, if you will. Ron Johnson calls on Trump's administration to recognize COVID-19 vaccine injuries as a medical condition. We'll see. That hopefully should happen. Starmer is demanding digital ID tech so invasive that it can keep minors from taking nude photos. Think about this for a second. What their plan is. It's so ridiculous. It's never going to happen. But what their plan is, I don't think they can pull it off. But here's their plan. They want to be able to assess any photos from a teen before they're able to send them anywhere. Which means they want to process them first and then be like, no, that's inappropriate. Try again. Think about it. People trying to send nudes, they're going to have copies of these nudes. This is the most disgusting. This is pornography at its best. Dude, Keir Starmer, dude, seriously, like it's, again, I don't know what it needs to be more obvious. They are literally trying to find minors so they can mind them. God, it's just disgusting. This fella that got, first off, he wasn't 15, by the way. The guy in Belfast got jacked up hardcore. I probably should have warned you guys. I apologize. Pretty jacked up photos. This guy got screwed. He's alive. He's such bad shape. This is a dude that was on top of him, like trying to cut off his head. And anyway, Ireland's really pissed right now. They're literally going into immigrants' homes and lighting them on fire. This is not okay. You should not do this. Not appropriate. But this is something that's happening, I guess.
You fucking foreigners!
Yeah, that's not nice. So they're literally... Ireland is, and this is the difference between Ireland or Irish people and the English, because again, I've got family that's Irish. You know when Irish people are pissed. You know. English? Anti-beheading rioters are going to feel the full force of the law, says Starmer. He's saying everybody needs to just chill down about this guy that did what he did, which is freaking horrific. And they've got the same problem, it seems, in England. Mr. Starmer, you seem to be having a hard time. Europe just proving and demonstrating how inept, and I think, well, again, we're seeing an example of the deep state falling apart even in Europe because the money's not flowing. USAID and all the other different things, certainly NATO, all the different things are no longer happening. United States was paying a huge part of Europe to create this stupid, troubled $100 billion Euro fighter jet project. I'm sure we were funding it. Ultimately, the company was having a hard time figuring out which country was actually in charge. So if something happened, they knew who they could go after. the EU doesn't exist is kind of what we're finding out, because this was supposed to be a European thing. But France and Germany building it, the two biggest countries, GDP as far. Now that England's not necessarily part of it, but now England's like, I don't even know if they're even in the top 5 in Europe anymore. They're in bad shape. All said, this thing's crap. NATO country halts arms to Ukraine under new Eurosceptic, is what they're saying. The new prime minister came in, conservative one in Bulgaria. And he's like, yeah, no, we're not giving any more arms to. This is stupid. Everyone's just it's a war of attrition, everyone keeps saying. Why would we play a part in just killing more people? Good for you, by the way. People just like, you got to keep killing people. That's the right thing to do. Again, the Democrats are so interesting. It's like the things you support are very bizarre. The European Union's now targeting the head of the Russian Orthodox Church with sanctions. This is arguably, well, that's the equivalent of, well, I don't know, like Greek. I don't know who's, Russia's got their own, Russia's got their own leadership in the Orthodox Church. I think Greece has one too. There's a couple of the Orthodox leaders. Then you've got some leaders from other religious sects in this world. One of the books I've read, which is actually in hand's reach, but one of the books I'm really fond of, it does talk about how each religion has one of the keys to the big picture. Nobody was given all the answers. It's fantastic. Car bombing happened that probably took out a top Russian general who, okay, this could have been an act of war by Ukraine, certainly. Also could have been a deep state general. Those happen as well. We've seen that in Sum of All Fears, if you guys remember, too. The Russian people killing that Russian guy. That was a great movie. All that said, too. Taiwan. Trying to piss off China. And not only trying to piss China off, they want to piss them off with some of our stuff. So they have these missile launchers, and they faced them towards China and launched them. Now, they weren't far enough to hit China. They weren't trying to hit China. They were probably staying within international waters, but aimed towards China and shot 36 U.S. supplied missiles into the waters off that coast there. And obviously China's not going to be very happy about that at all. And these are those HIMARS that we frequently talk about. I think the last story here, SpaceX versus Amazon. I kind of wonder, I think I've got him maybe set up to talk a little bit about on Thursday, but what is going on with SpaceX and Bezos? Like, they keep trying to give him a chance, and he keeps failing. Like, he's nailed it with Amazon. Amazon AWS cloud computing, he's nailed it. His rocketry sucks. They finally were able to catch their own rocket, which is huge. I'm sure Musk is helping this guy, but boy, a lot of the other things they're doing are not going very well. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here. But a little bit of a war is happening, and hopefully Bezos can get up to speed. It'd be cool to see him and Musk kind of, I don't know, making rockets, doing cool things. What the hell? We're going into a new world, guys, and AI is going to be playing a huge part of it, and this dude's got one of the biggest cloud computing set of servers. He's already got server farms already. He's already got huge amount of data centers, huge amount. Amazon is well placed to be a big part of what's coming. So again, I think that was always the plan, except we took charge of the plan instead of them. And that is what we're going to live through. You guys are awesome. You're rock stars, and we will continue to do this together. Where we go one, we freaking go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.